What's up, guys? RGT85 here, and this morning I found an incredible article. Nintendo does not have a family-friendly past, and this individual on thegamer.com is going to expose them. And I looked over this article and I read this article and I was just like, holy crap, somebody actually wrote this. Now, of course, this is no disrespect to thegamer.com or whoever wrote this article. I'm sure I've made videos in the past that people have disagreed with, but I just thought this article was so bizarre and just the wording of it. Nintendo has done some really questionable things in the past, and it's time someone exposed their not so family-friendly past. So we are going to expose Nintendo in this video. We're going to get the nitty-gritty about Nintendo, and yeah, so let's just look over this article together and react to it because yeah, it's pretty crazy. Nintendo almost made a console with Sony. Holy shit. Holy shit. How family friendly would it have been if Nintendo had made a console with Sony? What are you gonna tell me next? That Super Mario Bros. 2 that released in North America was actually a game called Doki Doki Panic in Japan? No, of course not. Nintendo almost made a console with Sony. We're starting out with a bang with this article. This website is not playing around. They are peeling back the layers of the onion to expose the disgusting underbelly of Nintendo and Mario by saying that Nintendo almost made a console with Sony. This is absolutely groundbreaking information. Obviously, this is going to be a very big story once it's out there. I'm glad that I'm getting in on the ground floor and helping out with the exposure of Nintendo and their not so family-friendly practices, because Nintendo almost made a console with Sony, and that's no joke. Number 9, once upon a time, Nintendo made erotic playing cards. Now, of course, if you know anything about the history of Nintendo, you would know that when Nintendo started out, they were a playing card company. It was not a video game company. It obviously was not a video game company until the Famicom released in the early 80s in Japan. So yes, they made erotic playing cards. I guess that's kind of controversial. I guess that's something that needs a little light shined upon it to expose the disgustingness of Nintendo. I actually have owned a pack of erotic playing cards, so I guess I am just as disgusting as Nintendo. And yeah, so that was a thing. Nintendo ran a love hotel. Now that's actually kind of interesting. Let's read this one. Back in the 1960s, Nintendo was a company that ran love hotels in Japan. As reported by the Tech Times, clients did not go to get much in the way of rest, let alone sleep. Rooms were available to rent by the hour, while with patrons typically accompanied by guests of financially compensated variety. So, I mean, obviously a different time frame. We're in the 1960s. I don't think that's indicative of Nintendo as a video game company. Obviously they were in a different position in the world. So I mean, I've gone to strip clubs before. Does that make me a bad individual? Like, I don't know. Like, I could sort of understand. This would probably be the one thing so far that we have seen that sort of stands out. They're like, yo, you know, a lot of people probably didn't know that. I obviously was not under the impression that Nintendo had ever ran a love hotel in their history before. You know, I would be interested to see how a modern Nintendo love hotel would work. Would there be people dressed up as Peach and Daisy and things like that? That could be a very lucrative thing for a Nintendo, sort of like an erotic getaway in the world of video games. I think a lot of people would like that. I would probably go check it out. I kind of, you know, could do my mustache like Mario or something like that. So, you know what? Okay, I will give you that one. Nintendo ran a love hotel. Okay, you know, that's a good one. Nintendo system have lustreless graphics. Okay, so is this article exposing Nintendo as a not family-friendly company, or is it just talking about Nintendo as a company? Like, yeah, Nintendo systems, you know, they're not 4K systems, they're not 8K systems. In a day and age where 8K resolution is approaching, Nintendo falls behind in the category of graphics. Even looking at The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, one of the console's most visually impressive games, it pales in comparison to PlayStation and Xbox games. I mean, okay, from a technical standpoint, I guess you could say that, but, you know, it's kind of, graphics are, you know, indicative of the person receiving the graphics. You know, art can sort of trump over pure graphical horsepower for a lot of games, and obviously Breath of the Wild was a Wii U game, so it really wasn't optimized for the Nintendo Switch. I mean, it was to some degree, but it wasn't designed with the Nintendo Switch in mind. It was designed with the Wii U in mind. But once again, what the hell does this have to do with Nintendo not having a family-friendly past that we are exposing here in this video? Like, you know, I think Breath of the Wild's a really good-looking game. You look at a game like Super Mario Odyssey, that game looks absolutely fantastic. There's a lot of beautiful third-party games on the system as well. To say Nintendo systems have lustreless graphics, I mean, what about the whole Alien Isolation thing? You know, Digital Foundry said that Alien Isolation looks better than the PS4 version of the game on the Nintendo Switch. So, you know, I mean, you know, when will Nintendo compete with their competitors? Why can Nintendo get away with this while other consoles can't? Because of sales. Like, that's what it boils down to. People are buying the systems even though they are, you know, not making 4K graphics, because people like to play video games and, you know, graphics aren't everything. What do we have next here? They charge more for an inferior console. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Somebody call the FBI on Nintendo, because they are charging more for an inferior console. The hardware of the Nintendo Switch is not on par with the PlayStation and Xbox. The Nintendo Switch costs more than an Xbox One X or S, which can produce better quality graphics in the high dynamic range. But can you take the Xbox One S with you? And is it a hybrid system? Is it a portable system? Like, you're comparing apples to oranges here, really. Like, the Nintendo Switch is its own little unique system. Like, yes, it's getting third-party ports of games that were available on the Xbox One and the PS4, but at the end of the day, it's kind of a different marketplace. They're obviously looking at a hybrid console that is both a home console and a portable console. But once again, what does this have to do with Nintendo's not so family-friendly past? You know, okay. Their games are rarely discounted, son of a bitch. Son of a bitch, how dare they? This is disgusting. How can Nintendo get away with this? Now, this is a point of contingency that a lot of people make, that a lot of first-party Nintendo games typically do not go on sale, but that's kind of because of sales of the games themselves. If the games weren't selling, I'm sure Nintendo would tend to mark them down a little bit more. Nintendo obviously values their games, but you can look right now, you know, when it comes to holiday seasons and Black Friday seasons, Nintendo games are typically discounted. You could have gotten The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and games like Super Mario Odyssey for like $30 or $40 during the holiday season. There's actually a sale going on right now on the Nintendo Switch eShop of a lot of first-party games. So to say that their games are rarely discounted, you know, there is some legitimacy to that, but that's just sort of indicative of the sales of the games. If the games weren't selling, I'm sure Nintendo would mark them down a bit more. So, you know, it's not very family-friendly, though, that's for one thing. Nintendo was associated with gangsters in the... Oh my god. In Nintendo's dark and disturbing past, now we're getting back into the past here, now we're getting to the not family-friendly stuff, they were associated with the Japanese crime syndicate called the Yakuza. Okay, newsflash, a lot of companies that came up in Japan in the, you know, in the earlier times were associated with the Yakuza. You can find Yakuza ties to a lot of Japanese companies. Is that necessarily indicative of where they are now? I mean, no. In fact, the Yakuza used Nintendo's cards more than any other type. So the Yakuza was buying Nintendo's playing cards, their erotic playing cards probably, and enjoying them. Disgusting, disgusting. Look, I ran with gangsters in high school. Is that indicative of who I am now as a, you know, mid-30s something adult? No, like, Jesus Christ, this article, and where's the source for this, by the way? Where's the source for the Nintendo is associated with gangsters thing? I'm gonna have Mario looking like a Yakuza member in the thumbnail of this. They once had a cartoon that was awful. My God. My God. First and foremost, okay, the Super Mario Brothers cartoon was not that bad. You had the other seasons, the Adventure of Super Mario Brothers, that had Milli Vanilli in the episode. That was one of my favorite episodes of all time. Like, the cartoon wasn't that bad. Look at the cartoons for, like, Sonic the Hedgehog. They weren't that great. Nintendo may be one of the most innovative platforms because of how they differentiate themselves, but it's hard to ignore their past failures, such as the cartoon that was awful. And it really just shines a light on how disgusting Nintendo is as a company. By releasing a bad cartoon, it really gets under that family-friendly stuff. It really exposes that disgusting underbelly that Nintendo has been hiding for so long. They have been hiding this forever. Nobody knew that Nintendo had a cartoon that was awful until this article came along. So you know what? Great stuff here. This is absolutely fantastic. The show was available for streaming on Netflix, but was later taken down. It was obviously taken down because kids were getting scarred because they were learning about the non-family friendly aspect of Nintendo. I swear to God, these final two things better just be absolute bombs. Like, these things need to be absolutely riveting. They need to shake Nintendo to its core, and I think we're going to get that. They charge people to play classic games. My God. My God. If Nintendo gave us a free of charge virtual console with retro games from platforms such as the N64, they could fix the error in their ways. Okay, I have a quick question for you guys. Now, if I want to play PS1 games on my PS4, do I get them for free? No, I don't. You gotta go to the PlayStation Store and, purchase the games. If I want to play original Xbox games on my Xbox One S, do I get those games for free? No, you gotta have Game Pass, or if you have the disc itself, or you can purchase the game. So no company gives away their games for free, their classic games, their back catalog of games for free. So how is this a point of contingency that it's like, you know what, Nintendo is not a family-friendly company, this is absolutely disgusting, they are charging people to play, like, what? Where are you coming up with this stuff? This should be like number, 10, and the Yakuza stuff and the Love Hotel should be like number 2 and number 1. That's actually sort of stuff that's interesting. This is ridiculous. So what could the final thing possibly be? This has to be absolutely huge. Missing so much potential for remakes and remasters. Sony PlayStation is pumping out remakes and remasters such as Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 and 2.5 remix, which, I mean, that's not PlayStation's decision, that's a Square Enix game. Shadow of the Colossus, Ratchet & Clank, The Last of Us Remastered, Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection. Nintendo falls behind in this category, and it's unexcusable. Unexcusable! They want Pokemon Snap, Diddy Kong Racing, which, of course, is kind of a rare IP, and it actually released on the DS, and so that kind of was remastered. The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess was redone in HD on the Wii U. Who wrote this? Who wrote this? Do you play video games? Do you know anything about video games? Because I'm thinking that you don't really know about video games, and maybe you don't know too much about writing, because there's a lot of stuff here that doesn't have anything to do with family-friendly stuff, and some of these games that you want to see re-released have been re-released on other platforms. Do you want them on the Nintendo Switch? But that would be a problem, because the Nintendo Switch we already learned about is an inferior console that they are charging more for, and it doesn't matter because Nintendo systems have lustreless graphics, so it wouldn't be capable of making these great remakes that you wanted. Oh my God. I just wanted to have fun with this article today because looking over it, it was just so ridiculous. No disrespect to the gamer, no disrespect to the person who wrote this article, but I think you kind of lost focus, halfway through the article. Is it about, is it really about their not so family-friendly past? Is it just about things that you don't personally like about Nintendo? I think you could have worded it a little bit better, but yeah, so I will have a link to this article in the description box down below if you want to read all the nitty-gritty stuff about it, but I just thought this was so bizarre and so ridiculous, and I really just wanted to make fun with it. So I hope you guys got a good laugh out of it, because I know I did. So let me know in the comments section down below what you think of this wonderfully crafted article. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Be sure to check out other videos on the channel, and as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.